Okay, Andre and I spent most of the weekend getting a building pad up, and what we've been doing is we got our transit, and you see where the 4 stakes are right there. That's the approximate edge of where the greenhouses are going, plus 2 feet. What I mean by that is that the greenhouse is 20 feet long, so I wanted to have wiggle room, so the flag from there to there on the far side is 24 feet. So that gave me 2 feet of wiggle room to put that greenhouse in on the building pad area. So if we weren't 100% exact with our initial measurements, then that's fine. So that's what we did here. Now what we did is we ordered the landscape fabric and the greenhouses on Thursday. They arrived on Monday, and that included over the weekend. And so what we got was a 13-foot wide driveway woven mesh for our landscape fabric. Reason we went with 13 feet is we'll have a lot less intermediates to do if we went with 13 feet wide instead of like 4 feet wide or 3 feet wide or 5 feet, which are the typical dimensions for landscape fabric. But for what we're doing it for, I think it'll be good. And so what we're going to do is the first one's going to go parallel with the fence here. And if you see the darker color of the dirt, we came in last night and we did a tapered edge, because like on this edge here, this was probably about 5 or 6 inches higher than the native ground. Now we got this because we did it. I didn't care if this was 100% level up here. I just wanted it higher than the native ground, because in case it rains or something, I didn't want the inside to get flooded. And so it was about a 4-inch difference. That flag right there was the highest point, and this flag here was the lowest point. And then that one was a little bit higher than the bottom, and same thing with that one over there. But there was about a 4 to 5 inch difference in height on native ground between here and here. And what we ended up with on the building pad was about a 1-inch difference, with this side still being the highest, but the other 3 sides are about the same height. And so to me, a 1-inch height difference over 24 feet using a tractor, I'm going to call that good. Then the other thing that we did is after we put the dirt on here to help compress it, I just took the tractor and just ran back and forth with the tire treads back and forth through this entire thing to compress the dirt. And then after that was done, then we went back with our garden rakes over there and kind of smoothed it out, because we had a little bit of high areas, a little bit of low areas. So we ended up putting a little perimeter buff around the 3 sides here. The top side here, this is only like 1 inch or so above native ground, so we didn't feel that a transition was necessary. I mean, over here, that was about 5 or 6 inches, so that obviously was necessary. So that's what we did there. And then I want to show you real quick where I got the dirt from. All right, so down here, which is, we're at the bottom part of the property, because there's the house and the garden and everything. So we have the swale that's running parallel to the peanut in our fence in the garden over there. and it comes back and stops right there. Then what I wanted to do is take that swale and continue it on all the way to here to continue it over to the corner. Once we get into the woods over there, the grade drops dramatically. Then we can take the water and just shed it off the property. Then it goes into the drainage ditches at the road, which where we live, which is coastal South Carolina, that's what those ditches are for, is for the control of the water. And then the ditches fill up, and then because of our sandy soil, it leaches into the ground fairly quickly. And so this is what I've been doing. Now, how I've been doing this is I have the tiller on the back of the tractor. So I'll come in to where I stopped previously, put the tiller down, turn the tiller on, run it up about 15, 20, 30 feet or something, whatever I think I'll need. Then I'll turn the tiller back off, raise the tiller back up, and then I'll come back into the hole here, which is about 5 feet wide, and then I'll just start scooping. So as you can see, all the tire tracks here. And no, it's not 100% level or anything, because like this spot here is a little higher, but this is just my first pass through here. What I want to do over the winter is we want to get this entire part dug out, probably a little deeper than what it is now. I'm going to try to grade it to where we can have some sort of flow going from one side to the other. Then once that's done, then we're going to take the tiller, and I'm going to have one tractor tire in the ditch, one tractor tire outside the ditch to try to angle it, and then we'll have an angle coming from the ditch and back, and then I'm going to till the entire thing, and then once I'm done with that, then I'll come back in and smooth it out either with the box blade or with the front end scoop. I did both on the other one. I think the scoop ended up being better because I didn't have to detach the tiller and attach the box blade. Anybody that knows anything about tractors, it's not that bad. I'm getting used to it, but attaching and detaching things, especially on the 3-point hitch, is just time consuming. And sometimes it goes in like butter, and other times you have to just fight with it. And so I kind of cheated a little bit and was just smoothing out using the front end scoop. But anyway, this is where we're getting all the dirt from. Now, this is also, since this is the low spot, this is also the highest quality dirt that we have. And the reason I say it's the highest quality is that when we start digging, it's the darkest dirt that we have. Because this is really dark, and then by the time you get up past into the fence area, the base color is about I'd say 2 or 3 shades lighter than that. So I just wanted to show that. So I'm just kind of showing the remnants of the garden right now. The whole reason why we're doing this now is that the sweet potatoes are starting to be ready, and we don't have enough room for them, not by a long shot. So that's why we're doing all this now. I'd prefer not to do this now. I was wanting to do this later when it was cooler, but you know, it is what it is. Here's the remnants of our watermelon patch. And it looks like some of the spaghetti squash was able to get itself back into the ground and is not dead, because that vine right there was about 1/3 of its size just a few days ago, and obviously over there it's flowering. And so spaghetti squash is kind of like sweet potatoes, where they'll run vines and then every so often they'll put feelers into the ground. And so evidently some of those feelers were big enough to where they were able to get its own root structure. So Anyway, not here to talk about the garden. So what I'm going to do next, which will be today, is we're going to start getting this landscape fabric down. And since the lower side is on the right side, which is close to the fence here, we're going to put that down first, and then we'll overlap and then go here, and then we'll go up here. And so the idea is to get this about 36 by 36, and then two 10 by 20 greenhouses are going in here. I already went into the computer, into the program that we use. I got all my measurements to do triangulations and all that, so we know where the greenhouses are going to be going. The other thing I wanted to say real quick is we bought a little propane burner, a little torch, and I actually melted this. Let's see if I can get it good. And so I was able to get lines yesterday, and then I just went through and melted it. The reason you want to melt this instead of cutting it is if you cut it, it will start fraying because it's woven. But if you melt it, the idea is it'll just congeal together and then it won't start fraying on you. So that's the theory, at least. So we also got sandbags ordered. I'll show what the sandbags are when we get them. The sandbags are going to help with hopefully the stabilizing of the greenhouses themselves. So that's about it for now. So I'll do little video snippets of after we start getting this in. It was funny yesterday. I started rolling this thing out because this thing was 108 feet long and 13 feet wide. It was perfectly fine, and then as soon as I rolled it out, then wind started blowing. And so Andre and I had a heck of a time trying to keep that thing straight enough for me to be able to measure and then cut these with the torch. So I thought that was pretty funny. So the sisters got upset with us yesterday because it was nighttime and they wanted to go out and they weren't able to go out. Now, the other fun fact with all this is Andrea had bought 500 lawn staples. And so she has been paranoid about anything getting into the coop. Now, on the coop here, you know, this is 1/2-inch hardware mesh. And it's painted black, so you can't really see it. We got it that way because the cost difference between the regular mesh, which was silver, and the black was negligible. And so that's what we got. And it was recommended when we built the coop to get like I think it was like a 1x2 mesh on the ground. Andre couldn't find that, but she found a 1/2 by 1 inch mesh. So that was actually on the ground coming out about 2 feet. And then she was paranoid that mice kept getting in. So she got a 1/4 inch mesh. And so she just finished installing the last 2 sides. The first 2 sides she did earlier this year. And see, okay, here's some of it that's exposed. We put dirt down, but of course everything erodes after a while. So there's the actual 1/4 inch mesh itself. Now, the only thing I didn't know until the other day is that she put these lawn staples in, I don't know, about every 4 inches on center or something. It was like they were like right on top of each other. And so around the perimeter of this chicken coop, she put 350 staples around here, which to me is absolutely insane. And so we had a big box of 500 staples. And so when we came to over there, I'm like, oh, we'll have plenty of staples. No, we don't have enough staples, so we have to go get some more. Luckily, we have to go out work-wise tomorrow and get some staples anyway. So that won't be a problem. We'll just go to Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere. Blondie, of course, Blondie's right there. She's loves the chick food, even though it's the same exact food as what they have. It's just the chicks have the crumble version, not the pellet version, which is what the sisters have. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Hey Samantha, how's everybody doing? So Samantha gets them up here about 2 or 3 times a day. So they're just up here chickie chilling. I think that's the one on the other side of the ramp right there. That's what I call the hairy leg one. That's the blue copper Moran, but its entire legs are covered in feathers, as you can see right there. So I thought that was kind of funny that the Morans normally have feathers on their legs, but that one's like extremely hairy, or feathery in this case. So nieces are 4 weeks old. I forgot to do a 4-week-old video yesterday, but I figured since I was over here and they were inside here, I just showed this a little bit. You know, there's Samantha right there. So anyway, this isn't a chicken video. So let me go ahead and close this up. And I'm going to do another segment of this after we start getting that. And then we will go from there. Okay, lawn staples are complete. I didn't do a intermediate on this one because you're putting down lawn staples. It's not that complicated. It's just tedious and it doesn't help your back. But this is what we got here. So it's about 36 feet long by about 36 feet. So it might be a little shorter, it might be like 35 feet, but it doesn't really matter because we have a ton of room around the perimeter of these. So if it's like a foot or so off, then it's not the worst thing in the world. So what I did was I looked up on the internet, and since the internet never lies, the internet said put the staples about every 8 inches on the perimeter, which is what I did. And then in between where the overlaps are, about 12 inches on center, which is what I did. So I used about 280, 290 total in here. And the reason why we got the 13-foot wide pieces instead of the 4-foot wide pieces is I only had 2 intermediates. I had this one and I had this one. And you get to see the crop duster. Oh. No, I zoomed in too late, but they're spraying for mosquitoes. So the plane's been flying really low around here and scaring the sisters. The sisters were out, but the first time that the plane went near, they said, peace out, I'm out of here, and they went back in the coop. He cannot get too close because we have the tower right there, but he was able to get on the other side of the road over there where the trees were, and then he got on the other side of the tower, so that's fairly good. So that's happening. So the way that the grade is on this is this spot right here is the high spot, and it sheds down all 3 directions. So that spot's a little lower, that spot's a little lower, that spot's a little lower. Andrea wanted to overlap these, so the top part of the overlap was going down just like you would shingles. So that's what we did. So next up is going to be installing the greenhouse itself. We have 2 of them. They're identical. So I want to get the frame of one up first and then see if I have any additional supports that we're going to need. So, but that will probably be tomorrow problem. Today is Wednesday. Yes, today is Wednesday. It's supposed to rain this weekend, as in supposed to. So I'm hoping maybe we can get one greenhouse up between now and then. And we also have some sandbags that are in North Carolina right now, so we should either get them tomorrow or Friday. And so most of the day Friday I'm going to be out in Georgetown, which is about an hour and a half south of here, on work related stuff. So the sisters were not happy that they had to go in a little early, but they can live with it. So anyway, not a chicken video, so I'll be done with the chickens. Alright, I lied. Here are the chickens. So here's the nieces there. That's Andre's expensive chicken that's going in right now. That's one of the olive eggers.
Oh, that one right there is the Moran.
Oh, no, that's the Wheaten Moran.
Splash Moran.
Or Splash Moran.
Americana.
What?
That's the Splash Americana.
Okay, so that one right there, the white looking one's the Splash Americana. The multicolored one is the Wheaten Moran?
Yes.
Okay. That's the hairy leg one.
That's the blue copper.
That's a blue copper Moran. I say hairy leg because that chicken has a bunch of feathers down its legs.
There's the olive egger pig peeping out.
Okay, and there's some more of them in there. So anyway, this is not a chicken video, so figured they were going to bed. And yes, Samantha and all 7 of those babies cram into that little small area. So
1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 sticking out right now.
Yeah, so Samantha's like, you know, I don't know how much longer this is going to be, but they're 4 weeks old, so it won't be too much longer, and they can be out sleeping with the rest of the sisters. So anyway, that is our greenhouse pad as from the chicken coop. So hopefully in a few days we might actually have one of these greenhouses up. Okay, welcome to the next phase, which is actually installing the greenhouses. And so I came in earlier today, and if you see where all the white flags are, the ones on the perimeter was in the computer. I did an actual 36 by 36 foot for the perimeter. The actual tarp itself was a little bit smaller than that, but we have a ton of wiggle room, so it's not really a problem. As you can see, the flags here, and on the other side we have where the 2 greenhouses are going. Let me come over this way. So the one greenhouse box right there is going in the middle of that greenhouse. So the long way is coming from where the side I am to the far side. That's the 20-foot side. And then the same thing over here. The yard cart would technically be in the middle of it if it was actually constructed. So I'm going to try to see how long it's going to take to put this thing up, how stable or not stable it's going to be, etc. So this is not going to be a video of how to install this thing. This is going to be of me actually installing it, and then I'll come back, and if there's any weirdness to the install, then I'll do that separately. Then today we're also supposed to get our sandbags. So because the idea is, the directions on the greenhouse said that you put a trench around the greenhouse and put the flap into the trench and then bury it for stability. Andre and I didn't like that, so we're just going to do sandbags. And these are just supposed to be temporary for a year or 2 anyway, so that's not the worst thing in the world. So today's actually a fairly good day to do it. It's about in the mid-80s right now. We got cloud cover mostly, and there's a light breeze. So it's September 12th, I think. I think that's today. So finally starting to cool down a little bit, which is a lot better than the mid-90s it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So anyway, I'm going to quit yakking. I'm going to crack this I'm going to crack this box open, and then I'm going to start. Okay, we have the frames up, and we actually have one of the greenhouses up. Kind of got detoured by our little surprise tropical storm over the weekend. And so I wanted you to look at what the frame looks like, which is like this. It says it takes 2 to 3 people to put this together. I actually put this entire frame together by myself, so it is possible. This frame is a system, so until everything gets put together is extremely unstable. But as you can tell, I mean, for what it is, it's pretty stable. Then it took me about 2 hours to assemble this by myself. Then the second frame, which is the one that actually has the greenhouse on it right now, Andrea helped me with that, and that actually took about an hour. So between me already doing it, so the learning process was not there, and the fact that it was 2 people, it took about half the time. Here's the second greenhouse itself. We just put it up right now, and before the rain really started, we got 33 sandbags down, or made over here. And so I'm going to be out of commission for more dirt for probably at least a week while the ground dries out. But we can be able to put 16 sandbags on each one. So what the directions said to do was to dig a hole, a trench all the way around the greenhouse, and then put the flap in, and then they said to cover it back up with dirt. And we didn't want to do that for a lot of reasons, mainly because we wanted our nice landscape fabric down, and I was not going to be punching a hole through that. And 2 is that just didn't really seem stable. So what we did was we bought sandbags, and each one of these sandbags has about 50 pounds of weight on it. So now the flaps have a bunch of weight sitting on top of them. So it should be able to be protected in like a normal wind event. Obviously, if you get a hurricane or something, that's not normal, but like a standard thunderstorm and that type of thing. And so the greenhouse itself it's in metric. So it says it's 10 by 20, but it's actually a little bit less than that. It's like 9.7 by like 19.5 or something like that. But we have this door open here. They have zipper that you put down on the side. And so going in now, and so the greenhouse is here, and then this one is obviously shut. It's a mostly transparent material, but then it's got a plastic mesh woven into it. And then Andrea is opening up one of the windows right now, and so that actually has like mosquito netting in it. And so for $140, you know, if these things last 2 years, I'll be extremely happy, because then we can figure out what we want to use for our permanent greenhouse, which by permanent, it's going to look more like a commercial type greenhouse, where it'd be like 20 feet by 60 feet or something like that, and have all the plastic and all that type of good stuff. But I'm thinking for right now, for what we want to do, I'm thinking this is actually going to work out pretty well. Because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to harvest a few 100 pounds of sweet potatoes, and then we're going to cure it in one of these greenhouses. And then the other greenhouse, we're going to transfer all Andre's turmeric and stuff that she has out in the front, and we're going to put it in here, or in the other greenhouse. So I'm saying that this is a pretty good win for the price point that it is. I think it's going to be really good. And the fact that we could get 2 of these greenhouses and the landscape fabric, and it was just over $400. I'm going to call that pretty good.
And it gives us a mini experience in hoop house building.
Yeah, and it gives us a little experience on how to build the actual hoop houses, and it'll give us an experience on what a greenhouse is and what we're going to use it for. So when we go to spend several $1,000s on an actual greenhouse, we know we're getting the right thing. So I'm thinking 2 of these be perfect for that. And we get to try out the landscape fabric while we're doing it. Because that's one thing that we want to utilize with the big greenhouse when we do get that is landscape fabric. Now the sisters are not happy because they want to be out right now, but you know, they can get over it. The second we came out here, they started really chicken complaining. But there's 6 openings on each side, plus if you have the ends open. Now there's no mosquito mesh thing for the ends here. All it is just you know, just these greenhouse fabric itself. But again, you know, for what it is, this is perfectly fine. And so the greenhouses, you know, I think they're rated for like 1 or 2 years or something. And then the sandbags are rated for a couple years. We might or might not cover the sandbags, because the sandbags will start to deteriorate in the sun after a while. But I don't know if I'm really going to be concerned about that. Out of everything here, the thing that's supposed to last longest is landscape fabric, because even being out exposed like this, it still can last several years. So, all right, I'm going to quit yammering now, and then we're going to get ready to go in. But yeah, here's the greenhouses. And I call these a big success so far.